Here's why I'm still excited when it comes to SuperVerse. Even though nothing I say is financial advice, when it comes to the Super token, let's say reaching the price of $10, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. However, the way you take a look at it is this. The fundamentals of SuperVerse, it doesn't disappoint me because even though this is just my perspective, I think SuperVerse is really kind of establishing itself as one of these main players in the blockchain gaming space. I mean, the market cap, after all, isn't that bad. I mean, it's not the biggest, but I'm just saying it's pretty decent, I would say, for a blockchain gaming project, especially as of right now, when altcoins, generally speaking, aren't doing the best, and let alone something like blockchain gaming, which a lot of the hype kind of disappeared, really, the way I take a look at it. But I don't mind, though, because I still kind of feel like, despite all that, SuperVerse still a very respectable market cap for me. And I think SuperVerse also is kind of trying to impact this blockchain gaming space maybe in a good way because we see many other projects out there. When it comes to blockchain gaming, it feels a little bit subpar, doesn't feel that good. But I like what SuperVerse is doing. I mean, let's not forget, right? If we take a look at SuperVerse again, it's basically a Web3 ecosystem combining gaming, NFTs, and DeFi. Now, DeFi stands for decentralized finance, but let's first talk about gaming because that's the main thing that I think about when I think about SuperVerse. According to Grandview Research, the blockchain gaming market is expected to be worth over $300 billion by 2030. So that's massive. I mean, that's bigger than some countries' GDP. So I find that if, let's say, it were to even happen, because that is, after all, just a projection, who knows? Again, that could hypothetically be something that could be good, of course, maybe for this blockchain gaming space. Not to mention, we take a look at NFTs and DeFi. Now, I would say that when it comes to these other aspects, people don't really think about that when it comes to SuperVerse, but arguably, I would say that I do think about that because I still think it's pretty decent. Like, for instance, both the decentralized finance market and as well as the NFT market, yet again, according to Grandview Research, because, they like to predict things, but by 2030, they predict that both of those markets, each individually, are expected to be worth over $200 billion. So again, over $200 billion each by 2030. Now, again, that's just a projection. So overall, I do like SuperVerse. However, let's not forget, the adoption isn't that bad, in my opinion, because so far it has been integrated with Moontropica. Now, Moontropica was pretty famous not too long ago. Now, no one really talks about it. At least I don't see many people talking about it that much anymore. But I still think that is a very impressive milestone in the grand scheme of things for SuperVerse. Take a look at also, it's been integrated with Guild of Guardians, Neon Heroes, Avalon, and much more. Again, some of these names may sound kind of familiar a while back ago, now not so much anymore, but then still I think it's a testament to as the kind of the okay and pretty decent adoption that SuperVerse has been able to kind of attain. Some people like to say, oh, there's too much competitors. Well, let's think about this, right? When it comes to blockchain gaming, it's not like SuperVerse has that many competitors. I mean, sure, there's more competition, I would say right now, but then I still think it's not too much because, of course, there are the established players like Engine and Gala, but then, of course, we have Beam, we have something like Echelon Prime. Of course, sometimes people talk about Altura. But then, really, I think SuperVerse is kind of in that category where people kind of often know sometimes SuperVerse, hey, it's focused on blockchain gaming. Some other projects out there, let's say I mentioned it, people don't know if it's focused on blockchain gaming or not because it's not that popular. SuperVerse, it's not the most popular, but I think the popularity is pretty decent. So I think that really, sure, again, there's more competitors, but then SuperVerse still has been able to kind of maintain that sort of, I would say, top 10 sort of presence within the market that it's focused on. So I still believe in its future. Now, let's say Super were to go to the price of $10, considering current circulating supply, market cap at that point would be around $6 billion, which is around a 14x from here. I get it. Some people may be thinking, oh man, what, 14x and all this. Now, here's the thing. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Some people are saying, oh, 300 grand, but that's slightly less than a 3x from here. Super, because it is an altcoin, because it has a way lower market cap than Bitcoin, in theory, what would have an easier time, let's say, even just doing a 3x, let alone over a 10x? Super or Bitcoin? Arguably, if let's say someone said, hey, would you rather choose Super or Bitcoin? I personally would rather choose Super because I just think that the market cap is way lower. I get it. Some people might think, oh, it's more risky. I'm totally aware of that because there's always going to be risks. But then I don't mind because I believe in the future of blockchain gaming. For me, the time to get into Bitcoin was a while ago. It's not right now, personally, again, for me. I'm not saying on anyone's behalf, but again, I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to focus on Super. And here's the thing. even though historically speaking, altcoins usually, as a worst case scenario, peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event, which would in theory mean around October this year, based on the last Bitcoin halving event that happened in April of last year in 2024, even though I can take a look at stuff like that, that's based off history again. There's no telling if it's going to be the same this time around because, quite frankly, each cycle may have different factors. They may be different things going on. So I'm not going to focus too much on that. What I'm going to be focusing on is myself because whenever Super does decide to do this or that, or whenever altcoins decide to, do hypothetically, let's say, different moves, like let's say there's an altcoin season, whatever, that is beyond my control. I cannot control any of that. There is no way to predict, for me at least, the exact moment in time. No matter what I draw on a price chart, let's say I pull up a price chart, drew some random triangles, do you think the market's going to listen to that? Do you think it's going to care? It's not going to care, right? So then why would I do that? I cannot tell the future. There's only one thing I can control, though. Again, that's myself. So when I see a project that I'm a fan of, if I like the market focus, if I like the community, if I think the exchange listings are pretty good, what I'm going to do is just stay consistent, be patient, hold, and I just wait. Literally, that's it. Because beyond that, I can't do anything else. So then why would I waste time and energy and effort to be focused on something that is completely out of my control? I'm not going to do that. So then, instead, I'm just going to stay patient, dollar cost average, and hold, and that's it. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I would greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch you all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.